What if, just for 10 seconds, the Earth came to a sudden, complete stop? Not a slowdown, not a gentle pause, but an abrupt, jarring halt. 10 seconds, and then everything returns to normal. What would actually happen? Let's set the scene. Earth spins at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour at the equator. That's over 1,000 miles an hour. And yet we feel none of it. It's like being in a perfectly smooth airplane, until suddenly the engines cut and everything lurches forward. If the Earth stopped spinning in an instant, inertia, that relentless law of motion, wouldn't care. Everything not bolted directly into the planet would keep moving, at the same speed the Earth had just been spinning. That includes buildings, trees, oceans. If you're standing on the equator, you're essentially being carried along on a massive carousel. If the ride stops instantly, you don't. You'd be flung eastward at Mach 1.5, fast enough to level cities, shred forests, and send entire oceans surging inland. Skyscrapers would snap from their foundations. Cars would flip and roll, tossed like pebbles. The air itself, which had also been spinning, would tear across the planet in apocalyptic winds, dragging firestorms and dust walls in its wake. Now, the further you are from the equator, the less extreme this gets. Near the poles, the rotational speed is minimal, so people in northern Canada or Antarctica might just feel a massive jolt, a quake-level tremor. But most of the inhabited world, it'd be catastrophic. Not because of fire or bombs or war, but because physics refused to break its own rules. You might wonder, if the planet only stopped for 10 seconds then resumed spinning, wouldn't that reverse the damage? Unfortunately, no. The destruction would already be done. Those 10 seconds would be all it takes. It's like slamming on the brakes at full speed. You don't need to stay stopped to fly through the windshield. But let's get a bit more speculative. Suppose Earth didn't stop instantly, but rather decelerated to 0 over, say, 1 second, remained still for 10, and then spun back up. A more theoretically gentle version. Could humanity survive that? In theory, yes, if we were prepared. But even with a second of deceleration, every object on the surface would experience a lateral force equivalent to a car crash. Planes would veer off course, satellites relying on Earth's rotation for timing would glitch, and GPS systems would fail. The core of the Earth, which spins independently of the crust, could shift, triggering volcanic eruptions and tectonic chaos. And then there's the atmosphere. Earth's rotation helps distribute heat, air currents, and ocean flow. Stopping it, even briefly, would wreak havoc on global climate systems. The Coriolis effect, which drives weather patterns and jet streams, would blink out. Storms could swell unpredictably. Some regions might go dry, others flood. And if the rotation didn't resume perfectly in sync, even minor discrepancies could twist the weather into something unrecognizable. On a longer timescale, Earth's magnetic field, generated by its rotating molten core, might fluctuate. It wouldn't collapse from a 10-second pause, but a hiccup in the planet's spin could cause magnetic anomalies. Compasses would twitch. Animal migrations might drift. Aurora borealis could flicker over unfamiliar skies. Now, let's stretch the idea a bit further. What if it wasn't a mechanical failure or act of God, but rather a message, a warning? 10 seconds of planetary stillness as a kind of celestial punctuation. Would we panic? Would we unify? Or would we simply scramble to survive, rebuild, and try to explain it away? We often assume that if something goes wrong, we'll get time to respond. But if Earth stopped spinning, even for 10 seconds, we wouldn't have time to ask, what's happening, before the consequences hit. That's the unnerving part. The physics doesn't wait for us to catch up. And yet, Earth does spin. Constantly. Reliably. It's one of the few things we count on without even realizing it. We don't wake up and wonder if gravity still works, or if the sunrise will come from the east. But maybe that's what makes a question like this so powerful. It reminds us how much of our world runs on invisible certainties, and how fragile those certainties might be. So, what if Earth did stop spinning for 10 seconds? Probably, you'd never know what hit you. But if you did, you'd never forget it.